Welcome to Boring News from Not Boring, where we bring you the news as Polymarket sees it. I'm your host, Packy McCormick's voice, and my job is to put my mouth where your money is. Today is December 25th, and a Merry Christmas to everyone. Wishing you warmth, joy, and a lot of celebration. Let's hit quick roundup of today's stories. Speculation on Polymarket about Canada becoming the 51st U.S. state by July 2025 shows around 96% chance against it, drawing a volume of over $160,000. Meanwhile, traders on Polymarket give a 99% chance that the US dollar will not surpass €1 by the end of 2024, with trading volume at around $70,000. In Egypt, the Polymarket odds of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's removal by March 2025 stand at around 12%, with a trading volume of around $6,000. Now let's hit today's stories in detail. Speculation is swirling on Polymarket about a wild possibility: Canada becoming the 51st U.S. state by July 2025. This comes after President-elect Donald Trump made comments suggesting some Canadians might support the idea. Despite Trump's remarks, the odds are overwhelmingly against this happening, with around 96% chance that it won't. Trump's comments, made during a chat with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, have sparked both skepticism and humor on social media. Historical context shows that the idea of Canada joining the US has popped up before, but has never been serious. A recent poll found only 13% of Canadians like the idea, with 82% wanting to stay as they are. Trump's talk about possible benefits like tax savings hasn't changed many minds. The market on Polymarket opened on December 18th around Trump's inauguration activities. It has drawn a moderate volume of around $167,000. These numbers show some interest, but not serious belief. On X, people are mostly poking fun at the idea, seeing it as more of a joke than a real political shift. Mainstream news outlets also treat it as unlikely. The implications of this story are intriguing but unlikely. If Trump's administration keeps pushing the idea, it could stir up some diplomatic ripples. However, without strong public support in Canada, this remains a speculative and improbable scenario. Let's move on to the next story. The Polymarket is seeing high activity with speculation over whether the US dollar will surpass €1 before the end of 2024. Current odds heavily favor no, standing at around 99%. This market opened after a Federal Reserve rate cut, boosting the dollar's strength against the euro. The exchange rate recently hit a two-year low, driven by contrasting monetary policies between the US and the eurozone. Analysts are skeptical about the dollar reaching parity with the euro soon. Historically, the dollar has surpassed parity during economic crises and periods of US strength, like the early 2000s and the 2008 financial crisis. As of late December 2024, the exchange rate floats around €0.96 per dollar. Recent headlines reveal a strengthening dollar. This movement stems from the Fed's hawkish decisions and weak economic momentum in Europe. Since the Fed's rate cut, market dynamics have shifted. Prior to December 19th, trading was more stable. Post-announcement, trader sentiment turned bullish for the dollar, seen in increased trading volumes and odds shifting towards potential parity. Polymarket numbers show a total volume of around $71,000 with a 24-hour volume of around $8,000. On X and traditional outlets, there's concern over the euro's decline. Some predict wider interest rate gaps will further pressure the euro. Yet many agree that parity is unlikely soon. Let's move on to the last story. In Egypt, the political scene is tense as Polymarket focuses on whether President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi might be removed from power before March 31st. The market shows around 12% chance of Sisi's removal, echoing public unrest driven by mass protests against his government. Economic hardships and corruption allegations fuel these protests. Sisi's presidency, beginning with a 2013 military coup, has faced criticism for authoritarianism and economic woes. Mass protests have erupted in Cairo and Alexandria, demanding Sisi's resignation. Recent headlines highlight public discontent, with demonstrators criticizing government spending, while social issues remain unaddressed. Sisi is reportedly concerned about these protests escalating, especially given regional instability. His administration's response has been heavy-handed, with reports of arbitrary detentions further fueling unrest. On Polymarket, total volume stands around $6,000, given the recency of the market. Social media users and news outlets express discontent with Sisi's regime, highlighting economic hardships and corruption. Reports focus on his government's repression and arrests of protesters. Meetings with foreign leaders, such as Israel, suggest external support for Sisi, despite internal unrest. The potential outcomes are varied. Sustained protests might lead to Sisi's resignation or internal military dissent, while a crackdown could entrench his power. International dynamics, notably Israel's support, add complexity to Egypt's political future. Each of the stories we covered today is ongoing and may change dramatically. For updates and detailed odds, head to polymarket.com. That's all the news that's fit to predict. This is me, Packy McCormick's voice, signing off. May the odds be ever in your favor.